Dozens of Russian officials and oligarchs have visited Cuba in the last few weeks, signing agreements to supply oil, wheat, and revitalize Cuba's broken industries.
Del presidente Putin.
It's partly in exchange for Cuba's support of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And Cubans who don't agree, like Rolando Remedios, who was arrested for protesting Cuba's lack of free elections 2 years ago, say their government is in no position to haggle over terms.
They have no choice because this is a sinking ship. The Cuban economy continues to deteriorate.
Cuba is facing the collapse of its economy and its electrical grid.
Now the Russians come to Havana and they say, well, we're ready to help, but you would have to change your constitution, change your laws. And the attitude of the Cuban leadership is the attitude of a submissive lackey of a colonial power.
In the last 2 weeks, Cubans have appeared joining the Russian army and fighting alongside the Wagner Group in Ukraine. And the Cuban army signed a deal to train its troops in Belarus. Kremlin officials have been talking about the possibility of opening a new front in their confrontation with the West on this side of the Atlantic.
The message is mostly directed to the United States and to the Western allies, and saying if things really will get really wrong in Ukraine, we may go forward and to place some kind of a strategic equipment on the islands.
They are pushing us to the center of a geopolitical confrontation with NATO.
This former Cuban diplomat fears that could include nuclear submarines.
The worse that the war will go for the Russians, the more likely that this kind of military scenario might take place.
And in an era where Cold War dynamics seem to be repeating, many Cubans worry the temptation for Russia to use their island will be too strong to resist. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Ottawa.